And today marks the first day of the 16 Days of Activism. Joining me this morning, and it starts today with the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And joining me this morning to chat about that and the 16 Days of Activism, it's Sapphire Alexander, who's the founder of Caribbean Feminist, as well as via Zoom, Renesa Joseph, who is the co-founder of Youth Empowering. Good morning, ladies, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Now, let me start with you, Sapphire. What are the 16 Days of Activism?
Okay, I'm so glad that you asked me that. So the 16 Days of Activism are an international campaign, so it takes place every single year. It starts from the 25th of November, which is today, which is the day for the elimination of violence against women and girls. And it ends on the 10th of December, which is Human Rights Day. Right. And the reason why they've selected those days is to emphasize the message that gender-based violence is a violation of human rights.
Definitely, definitely. And going now to you, Renesa, how and why are the 16 Days of Activism observed globally and more so in Trinidad?
Okay, so globally it is recognized by the UN, and in Trinidad and the wider Caribbean, we realize that it is recognized by organizations like Feminists and also UN Women. So we wanted to join in on the move and have the youth perspective and the youth voice on it to encourage youth like ourselves to educate themselves on topics that aren't really stressed on, which contribute to the gender-based violence like consent, healthy races, unhealthy relationships, and stuff like that. So we have been moving on since then.
And now there's a new campaign that is being started, and that is Youth Against Gender-Based Violence. Tell us about it.
Okay, so the Youth Against Gender-Based Violence campaign is a digital campaign run entirely by youth organizations. Wow. So the organizations that are part of this campaign are Mine Caribbean Feminist, Renesa's Youth Empowering Today for Tomorrow, YTT. There's also Making a Difference Everywhere, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Trinidad and Tobago Youth Advocacy Network. So we have a huge array of youth organizations coming on to work on this project. So during the next 16 days, we will be sharing information on different issues relating to gender-based violence. One of our major events actually is a panel discussion on December 5th. It's called Gender-Based Violence in the Context of COVID-19, and we have some incredible speakers lined up. Just to give you all a little inside scoop, one of our speakers is going to be Miss Clay Guy Allen from the Gender-Based Violence Unit, the TTPS Gender-Based Violence Unit. She's actually the head. We also have Miss Asiya Mohammed of Conflict Women Limited, and we also have Miss Terry Ince of CEDAW. So that is our major event on December 5th. We're also going to be incorporating a lot of the youth perspective. We're going to be asking them questions about issues related to gender-based violence, and we're also going to have some spoken word presentations during the next 16 days. It's really exciting stuff.
That really is exciting. And Renesa, why do you think it's so important to get young people involved in the conversation when it comes to gender-based violence?
Because, okay, so I think that it is an extremely important topic that should be implemented in our educational system, and it's not. So I would see generations and change going on into families where the generations of GBV keep going on and continuing. So as I mentioned, you know, topics like consent and healthy versus unhealthy relationships, you know, where persons will think, okay, well, this is the norm, you know, to have an overprotective boyfriend or girlfriend, and it's really not, so, you know, and you need to see the red flags from a relationship. And I feel like people kind of romanticize a toxic relationship, which you should be able to see the red flags, and those are definitely red flags. So, you know, I think that the youth perspective and educating the youth on this topic is something that should be stressed on, because it always starts from a young age.
That's so important. You know, young people, they need to be educated into certain things and not be accepting of certain so-called social norms and these things that are, as you said, romanticized, you know, in media and social media and these things as well. So I think it's so important moving forward. Do you believe that young people are equipped with enough resources to be well educated, enough within the scope and the sphere of education on gender-based violence?
Okay, so as much as there are resources out there, you know, you can access them easily there. And I feel like doing research in our campaign, we had access to a lot of resources, but it's how you reach them. So we wanted to be that that source for everyone to easily access them through social media, which is a very popular place to disperse information, especially important campaigns like this one. So, you know, a lot of mostly youth use things like Instagram and Facebook and even Twitter. We've been on Caribbean Feminist on Twitter. So we've been discussing our information there to really get the youth's voice and the youth perspective. We've even sent out questions specifically seeking the youth's perspective.
All right, and before we go, Sapphire, how do we get into contact? How do young people get involved and become a part of this campaign?
Yes, so we encourage young people to reach out to us. Our campaigns are going to be circulated on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So all our ads are on all those platforms. So for Caribbean Feminist, that's at Caribbean Feminist. For YTT, that's at YTTofficial.TT. Trans-Big Youth Advocacy Network is at TTYANofficial. So we're going to be live on there. If you want to become a part of the campaign, please feel free to reach out to us. You know, young people, we love to DM, so feel free to DM us, to email us as well. All our emails are linked on our profiles as well. We'd love to hear a lot of youth perspectives on these issues because it is really important for youth to be aware and sensitized as it relates to issues like these.
Wonderful. And with that, I want to thank you both so much for joining us this morning. Joining me was Sapphire Alexander, and I want to thank you as well, Renesa Joseph. And we were speaking about the 16 Days of Activism, and it starts today. And you can look out via their platforms to find out how you can become a part of the campaign and get more educated when it comes to gender-based violence.